What's going on, guys? Joey Franzel here with Flex Training Systems, and obviously a little bit different of a setting. I am currently at IPF Bench Worlds. For those wondering, no, I am not lifting. I am here to support my girlfriend Tina and one of my lifters from the UK. IPF Worlds is kind of there are only so many IPF meets. Fun fact, at IPF competition, you're only allowed to use an Eleiko bar, which I actually just found out. Um, so, here to support my girlfriend and my buddy Alec. They have put in all the work, and now it is time to put it all out there on the platform. I was just talking with Tina about how couple years ago it was crazy to see girls in her weight class benching 160, and now she's opening her bench with 176, and she's looking to hit somewhere around 195, 192 I think is the number we're going to go for, at 114 body weight, which is pretty nuts. She won her nationals, and now she gets to come to Worlds. So I wanted to make this video because I haven't made one this week, just with travel, and things have been really hectic for me. The April I knew was gonna be like ridiculous. I know that some of you guys follow me on Instagram, and on the Instagram story you saw that on one of them I talked about how April was gonna be insane. Right when I get back, heading down to Orange County to stay out there for a big two-day local meet, which should be really fun. But yeah, that's kind of what's going on with me right now. I'm gonna try to upload this straight off my phone, and hopefully there are no issues. Some of you guys have been asking me on my weight loss. I weighed in at the Arnold at 253 that morning, and then the past couple days I've been 242, so that's 11 pounds. I feel fine. I feel like I haven't lost too much. Definitely going to try to maintain this weight loss for another 10 pounds before we start to bring food up. But yeah, 2 minutes and 30 seconds into the video, let's actually get into the topic at hand. The topic I wanted to talk to you guys about today is, whether or not there is a right move when coming into a competition. What the hell do I mean by that? I'll just give you guys an example. I'm not going to drop any names, but I was dealing with a female lifter, who basically we came down to the point where she could cut down to a lighter weight class, or she could lift in her current weight class. And I think a lot of coaches will, I think they forget that we actually work for our clients, so we have to consider the things that they want to do, and it's not just, my way or the highway. Although there are some things within that are like non-negotiable. Obviously, you can't be fighting with your coach all the time about, the way you guys do things. That's why you hired a coach after all. But she did not know whether or not she should go up or down, and I told her, it's up to you. We can do both. I don't think in this situation there is a right or wrong answer. There is a safer route in terms of, just trying to hit the biggest total possible. And there is a potentially riskier route, with the cut, potentially losing pounds on your total, maybe a net profit on the total, but, at a local meet, I think it's more important, and it shows a lot of maturity when you can just focus on hitting all your lifts and being as strong as you possibly can. Maybe not worrying about Wilks so much, and then put yourself in a good position to make the lighter weight class at Nationals or the Arnold or whatever meet that you're doing in your yearly calendar that means a lot to you. So whatever meet that you want to be most competitive at, you're probably going to be more competitive in the lighter weight class. Sometimes, not all the time. When I went up to 120, you got a pretty significant bump in total and Wilks. So, I probably could have committed to 120 and kept going, but I just didn't like being that big. And again, it's not always. You have to be happy with yourself at the same time. If all you care about is being the best powerlifter you can be, and you don't care about your looks, and you just want to be unhealthy, that's fine. That's on you. You know, nobody can live your life for you. Nobody can tell you how to live your life. You have to do what makes you happy. If you absolutely, actually, this last collegiate nationals, everybody wanted to do the lighter weight class. It makes sense. It's collegiate nationals. You're competing against, I can't speak, your peers, and you want to do well. So you decide to make the cut, and I would advise them ahead of time, hey man, you're cutting a good amount of weight. You know, you definitely want to be aware of the risks here, and what could potentially happen, you know, on the day. And I would say most people did fine, and I mean, you guys follow me. I put everybody up. Most people did fine, and nobody missed weight. It's something else to worry about. It's something to consider. And like I said, you can always, like, I know how to have people cut a ton of weight. That doesn't mean they should always do it, but at the end of the day, it's up to them. If I think that over time, you know, whatever decision I'm making, it's not just cutting weight, it's you know, cutting weight or using a certain accessory movement, or you know, setting up their training with a certain schedule or whatever. If I feel like over time this is like a detriment, then yeah, we can change it. But sometimes it's not about what I want, it's about what the lifter can handle or what their life will allow. Sometimes it's not even about like optimization, like having an optimal training program might not even exist, and maybe, you know, having things, what I think is optimal and what you know, the lifter is actually capable of, there may only be like a 1 to 2% difference on results, as long as we have, you know, the foundation there and everything else, we're hitting all our marks on the checklist, then all this other stuff doesn't really matter. Ideally, you know, there's definitely some things that I think, in terms of like being only able to train 2 times a week. You know, 3 times a week can work. 2 times a week is like severely limiting, and then it just gets better with the more days that are available. But sometimes that's just the road that you have to take. So there may not always be a right or wrong answer. It's what do you want to do? And for a lot of people, that's really difficult. They don't know what they want to do. They just want to be the best at everything. It's usually like a very extreme thing. It's like I want to cut to the lowest weight class, and I want to have the biggest total. In every, you know, scenario, of course we'd want to do that, but you have to look at the tools that you have at hand to be able to pull that off. You know, how's your training been? Maybe your training block had some, you know, unexpected variables that threw things off, and the risk of cutting to have a meet that wasn't going to be perfect anyway just isn't worth it, when you could have just had fun and gone in the bigger weight class and probably still hit PRs. I'm going to leave you guys with one more example before I take off. At Raw Nationals, I could have lifted at a 120, and I could have lifted at a 105. Part of the reason I wanted to lift as a 105 was because I knew that I would be running around a lot the days before, and I would have the resources, you know, in order to make the cut. And I thought that extra movement would help keep my weight a little bit lower, which it actually did. And I had a sauna right there. At the same time, I could have done all that and gone 120 and just ate more, and I would have placed very similar. I ended up hitting a massive total PR 5 weeks later without any, you know, distractions, just going lift, and I didn't have any stress at either meet because I knew that my circumstances were going to be not ideal for the first one. So I didn't really trip out that I only PR'd my total by like 7.5 kilos, which is like 5 pounds on each lift. So I was cool with that. It was actually 5 on deadlift, 5 less on bench, and then more on squat to compensate. But you know, I knew that there were more meets. I knew that I could always do one down the road, and I ended up doing that. I hit a big total PR and some milestones at the next meet, and I didn't cut weight, and my Wilks went up tremendously. So I wasn't mad, and I didn't stress out when I knew that I couldn't bring the absolute best package I can at nationals because I have so many people to worry about. Plus, I knew the Arnold was coming up, and as long as I hit my qualifying total for the Arnold, then I can, you know, try to do a little bit better at that meet, which I did. And like I say, you choose your timeline. So if you want to be ready for nationals, you know, 10, 12, 16, 20, 24 weeks out, get everything in order, make it happen. Focus on that meet, get your weight down way ahead of time, so you don't need to worry about anything, any surprises come meet day, and you can reduce, you know, the amount of stress you have to deal with coming into it. There is no really right or wrong answer when it comes to what weight class you should lift in. I mean, in some scenarios, one can be more beneficial than the other, especially when it comes to being hyper competitive. Like if you're going to go to Worlds or something, then there's absolutely, you know, you need to consider who's in the other weight classes and make a move based on that. One example that comes to mind is Dennis Cornelius. I mean, he's not going to beat Ray Williams, but he'll destroy every 120 by like a mile. So he could lift as a super, but it's just like overwhelmingly obvious that he should lift at a 120 if the goal is to go to Worlds. If he just wants to hit a big total, then it doesn't matter. So there's not always a right or wrong answer. There are answers that will give you, there are options that will give you like a higher chance of X goal, but at the same time, if you go the other route, you might achieve Y goal, if that makes sense. You just have to find out what you want and decide based on that. So I hope you guys were able to gain something from this video. I'm gonna try to upload it straight off my phone. Like I said, I want to try to do one more while I'm out here, and then when I come back to California, I will be back to the regular upload schedule. I don't know if I'll have it in this video, but eventually there's going to be a link down below. These shirts, all kinds of colors and different types, are available in the Flex shop. So if you guys are interested in that, there's also a code. It's FLEXFAM, FLEXFAM all together. You'll save 10%. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and drop it down below. And yep, talk to you in the next one.